Today we'll be reacting to when a franchise literally will end. Stand up crew, yes sir, we standing today. We standing, us, hey, we standing today. So without further ado, I got nothing else to say. Let's get into it.
Thank you everyone for coming. We're gathered here to celebrate the life of a show that's touched both our lives and YouTube Shorts feeds, and known for inspiring millions of people to get up and
Family Guy,
change the channel. We're now going to hear a few words from one of the only people that is still watching Family Guy. Hi, yeah, me again. Look, I'm sure we've all had that one show that's like gone on for so long that it just ends up like spinning its wheels, like the car that hit Brian in Family Guy. Thank you, not the time. Recently for me it was The Boys, which I am constantly embarrassed to ever publicly talk about because here I was thinking a show where a guy got straight teeth from an octopus was ever going to have a satisfying ending. And in the words of the great Peter...
Alright, but watch your mouth.
Griffin Family Guy. That reminds me of the time that 2.5 Men got to the end of its final season and had lost about 1.5 of its men. Shows that go on for so long that they lose their main character, or replace their host with Joey, from the hit sitcom Joey. Or take after My Parents and add a baby that just ends up making everything worse. But then, you get these shows that have transcended previously thought limits, where they no longer have to worry about things like ratings or angry IMDb reviews written by 45-year-olds, where we've all just accepted them as a constant part of our lives, like taxes and those weird ads about toes on every BuzzFeed article.
What
and like,
the
I get
fuck? Alright, bro.
But man, like, it's so hard to get people to watch something when the cast isn't like half naked and or British. So when you finally do pull off a show that people watch, you do just want to hold onto it for dear life. But I think it gets to a point, bro. We're now going to show you a video that was prepared earlier by the family.
We shouldn't have done that.
Does that mean that you want to stop?
No. Oh, it feels so good. Tell me you want it.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, don't stop, you generous man.
It's all night.
Right there. Oh, yeah. Give it to me, big boy.
You like that?
Oh, that's a spot.
The Simpsons, SpongeBob,
A fucking
Family Guy. I think it speaks to the quality of how good these shows started, that they're still able to coast off of the goodwill of those earlier seasons, even after all this time, where I give you about 2 seconds on any social media to run into a Simpsons or SpongeBob meme, but I guarantee you that almost every time, it's gonna be something from one of those earlier seasons. Where sometimes it feels like the newer episodes only exist in the form of like 40-minute long YouTube videos complaining about how the shows fell off. And it's not like modern Simpsons is the worst show of all time. We're just now at a point where like the amount of it that people call the good part is like a small minority of the show. And the rest
wow, that's a fall off.
that people call the good part is...
It looked like season 1 sucked, but then they struck gold in season 3. Was at its peak during 4, 5, and 6.
like us,
and then it just slowly
small minority of the
falls
show
off, and it gets worse and worse.
And the rest of it is
and worse.
about as unwanted as Meg from Family Guy. Please stop. But yeah, like compared to the earlier seasons that were getting like the 90s equivalent of like Mr. Beast views down to only like 1 million viewers an episode is still kind of impressive when you think about like literally who is watching TV anymore. But I think even the strongest Simpsons fans who have stuck with the show even through its K-pop episodes with Fortnite CGI have to admit that the animation quality went backwards, the online ratings started to look like a giant picture of Lisa, and every sentence that comes out of Marge's mouth sounds like her last words. One of the greatest tragedies of my life...
God damn. Sound like she been smoking cigarette for years, bro.
Was deciding to be 13 when Rick and Morty first premiered, where there was like a solid maybe 2 months of my life where my entire vocab just turned into like Rick and Morty vocal stems. But then I got to season 4 and it just didn't hit the same anymore, you know?
What the fuck is Morty Rary? Yo, Morty. What we doing, bro?
Me, it was the giant space incest baby.
Get ready, boys. The last thing this world needs is a giant incest baby.
You know, now that I think about it, that was probably it. And even if a lot of my friends who stuck with the show kept telling me that it got better eventually, and like, look, they even brought Evil Morty back, I just couldn't stop thinking about that fucking incest baby. What? But the point is that it just doesn't take a lot to like lose your audience forever, which I can tell you from the experience of watching The Walking Dead, or reading through my comment section whenever I take a sponsorship. And so either because they're running out of ideas or just doing whatever it takes to keep people watching, usually what happens when a show goes on for this long is that everyone goes fucking insane. Like, it reminds me of another late friend of mine, Riverdale, and all of the singular good time that we had together. Because it didn't matter if they had an infinitely generating amount of serial killers, multiple musical episodes, time travel, the Mothman, the Gargoyle King, or a bomb that sent the whole cast into an alternate universe called Rivervale, where Archie had his heart cut out by a ritualistic cult. All things that actually really happened.
Am I getting warm, Daddy?
Riverdale is a joke.
None of which ever seemed to increase the show's constantly declining ratings, but did increase my homicidal thoughts. But Riverdale starting as a teen high school murder mystery and ending with them turning into the Avengers is just kind of like the standard for what happens when shows go on for too long. Like, I don't watch a lot of cable TV on account of not being in a nursing home, but every time I miss that Netflix button on my remote, I end up doing like an involuntary welfare check on the cast of 911, which again began as like a grounded show about firefighters, where they are now going to space and dealing with bee tornadoes.
Is that a Sabine?
What?
And you know Baywatch, that like lifeguard show with David Hasselhoff? Well, when they got to the point where he was like disarming live grenades on the beach, they figured they may as well give him like a detective spin-off show, where in the second season he starts fighting aliens. Season 1, Mitch investigates the murder of the agency's previous owner. Season 2, Mitch investigates a series of murders committed by a half-man, half-fish woman. Mitch heads to an oil rig where they encounter a gelatinous sea monster. Mitch enters a cabin that takes him back in time. But you know what they say, that death is only the beginning of an animated prequel show that looks like Subway Surfers.
What universe are we living in right now that we're getting
Bro, Stranger Things, bro.
a third spin-off within the universe of the Big Bang Theory?
A new Stranger Things spin-off show just got announced.
Why is Stewie getting a spin-off show?
Steven Universe is getting a new spin-off series.
The best animated show of all time is finally back.
Squid Game have announced a cinematic universe.
Guys, this is insane. We're getting another Adventure Time spin-off.
You've been voicing Jake the dog for 15 years. What's been most rewarding about this character just living on for a decade and a half now?
The paycheck.
Which I think brings us to the final stage of TV immortality, the soap opera. I'm talking about those shows that have been airing at exactly like 3 p.m. on a weekday since the beginning of time, that consist entirely of like two people standing in a room and arguing for longer than the entirety of One Piece, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Home and Away, where all I've ever known about any of these is that they're like Cocomelon for old people. Like, I remember one time I asked my grandma what was going on during like a Bold and the Beautiful episode, and despite her knowing about 5 total English words, proved to me over the course of the next 25 minutes that she has somehow retained about 30 years worth of the show's lore. We're talking 60 seasons, 15,000 episodes, airing 5 times a week.
You have interfered for the last time.
I don't know what the fuck any of these people did to deserve, like, living in some kind of eternal purgatory where someone is perpetually either pregnant, divorced, suicidal, British, or part of an 8-month-long arc where someone is possessed by the devil.
You have possessed my wife again, haven't you?
Aren't you the clever one, John Black?
No. Your precious Marlena is mine now.
What was I talking about?
What the fuck am I what?
Ah, yeah. Brooke on Bold and the Beautiful has been married 15 times. And 8 of them were to the same guy. Like, it gets to a point, man.
How many times has Eric Forrester been married on Bold and the Beautiful?
I think the number is 6 or 7.
And because these are designed to go on...
My fault. My fault. No. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry.
For longer than their audience's entire lifespans, they have to come up with like a reason why any actor leaves the show, which is why the British show Coronation Street has killed more people than most world wars.
Fuck.
I mean, here I was thinking that Grey's Anatomy was a show about doctors, and little did I know after looking it up that I found out these guys are constantly surviving plane crashes, shootings, ghosts, and worst of all, a musical episode.
It was genuinely...
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Announced that we are getting a spin-off series of Rick and Morty with solely just the president.
And now, much like a Family Guy cutaway gag, I'm going to segue into something that has absolutely nothing to do with what you were watching. Every single time we've gotten a new Toy Story since the third one, which is twice, I don't know why I'm saying it like that, the reaction is always the exact same thing.
I ain't gonna lie, chat. Toy Story should have ended at 3, bro. 4 and 5 should not be existing.
Seriously, I can't believe they made another Toy Story.
Facts. I ain't gonna lie. Facts. Hey, when that movie does come out, I'm watching.
There's two sides to the argument
that did come out, but when it comes out, Disney Plus
have every time they make another Toy Story movie. You know, there's the people that recognize that a Toy Story 5 doesn't take away from how good Toy Story 3 is, and then the other side, who tell those people to shut up. But I think where Pixar fucked up is that if they were going to spend the next 12 decades pumping out Toy Story sequels, then maybe they shouldn't have made Toy Story 3 so good in the first place. Because, you know, by making a trilogy this good, they've now set the standard for how good all of these have to be. And so it doesn't matter to anyone that, like, Toy Story 4 and even 5 are pretty good. They're still competing with Toy Story 2, which is the best one. And you can't even argue that, because you know in your heart that I'm right. But with Toy Story, I think it's a bit more than these just feeling like unnecessary sequels, you know? I think people would be a lot less mad about, like, a fourth Matrix or an Indiana Jones movie where he's 9,000 years old if we didn't already have movies where we said goodbye to these characters. Like, sure, I'll take a third Incredibles and another Monsters, Inc., but Toy Story felt like it was...
I don't think Incredibles had, like, an official ending.
It's done.
So
right?
I'm down
we were
with that.
good after this. Like, what was the point of having such an emotionally satisfying ending where, like, just before he goes off to college, Andy chooses to give something that means so much to him away to someone else because he knows that she needs it more than he does right now, and then goes on to move on with his life while the toys get to start a brand new one. In Toy Story 4, Bunny shoves Woody in a closet and replaces him with a fork that spends the whole movie trying to kill himself. And so before the movie had even come out, people had already decided that the Toy Story series had gone the way of Peter Griffin going down his stairs and fell off. But, like, as far as unnecessary cash grab sequels go, it might have been extremely unwanted, but at least it was really pretty to look at. And I can really relate to that, you know? I like Toy Story 4, okay? Like, sure, it's not as big as the last one.
Yeah, I agree. It's good, but it's not first rate.
It's kind of hard to, like, be invested in the emotional well-being of a fork when they were literally gonna fucking die in the last movie. But the ending gave us, like, a little bit more closure with Woody, with him realizing that
the ending, too, kind of fixed that thing.
It's okay to live his own life, even if that means being away from his family. And I thought that was enough to justify the existence of a fourth movie. And then in Toy Story...
Yeah, he comes back to Toy Story 5. Just get rid of all that shit. Alright.
5. It's like, oh no, he's just like down the road if you need. Like, you can just give him a call. Because, like, every one of these movies is perpetually within toy walking distance of one another. Toy Story 5 is, like, the most spiritually straight-to-DVD movie I've ever seen. I'm not saying that means it was bad. Like, I liked it. But I'm also nearly 25 years old. So... But I think most other emotionally immature 25-year-olds can agree that Woody and Buzz kind of, like, ran out of stuff to do by the end of the third and fourth movies. So, like, now all we get with the addition of another sequel is, like, you get to see Woody go from, like, a borderline insane psychopath to a slightly fatter and bolder insane psychopath. And, like, shifting the focus to Jesse was a great call to set it apart from the others, but just ends up making you wonder why they didn't just do it as, like, a spin-off. Oh, yeah, right. But much like with The Simpsons... and its 18 trillion episodes, there's only so much that you can do with the same premise before you turn into the Fast and Furious movies, which went from the humble beginnings of being about illegal street racing to The Rock and Jason Statham fighting a cybernetically enhanced Idris Elba, which is so much worse than the space thing, okay? I don't care what anyone says. A franchise that's as immortal as its entire cast is, that I think is only topped by, like, the entire horror genre, specifically the Halloween movies, which is about as committed to its decision-making as the entire population of a gym on the 1st of January. And if you allow me, I've prepared like a little presentation for it, because you guys aren't busy, right? The first Halloween is a simple movie about a realistic depiction of what it's like walking home as a woman at night, that ends with our hero Jamie Lee Curtis shooting Michael Myers and pushing him off of a balcony, which they leave open for Halloween 2, where Michael Myers is now Jamie Lee Curtis's brother, so they shoot him 40 times and blow him up. But that doesn't even matter, because then in Halloween 3 we find out that all of that was just a fake movie inside of another movie. Until Halloween 4, where Michael Myers is real again, actually.
Yeah, then they get, like, completely reducted and then redid it, like, not too long
They
ago.
hit him with a car and shoot him another billion times, which he then miraculously survives in Halloween 5, where it's now revealed that Michael Myers is telepathically connected to Jamie Lee Curtis's niece, who in Halloween 6 is then abducted by a cult that impregnates her with Michael Myers' child until he is defeated by Paul Rudd.
It worked. Power of the runes stopped him.
But then in Halloween 7, they changed their minds again, because none of that happened actually, because Jamie Lee Curtis pushes him off of a balcony, crashes a van into him, and then decapitates him. And you might be reasonably thinking how he could possibly survive that one. And obviously it's because he swapped clothes with some other guy at the last minute, because the real Michael Myers is now doing karate with famous rapper Busta Rhymes.
Trick or treat, motherfucker!
But you know, at least after all this time, they finally know when to stop. I think Star Wars is another one where, like, back in the day, whenever a new movie was coming out, you could feel and smell the hype around the world.
I don't mind a cinematic universe versus Star Wars, though. No. I think a cinematic universe can't work. Except it is going to have an ending, and you are not going to have to do any more trilogies. Like, I think the trilogy era is kaput over. But I think they can still drop some content in like the universe. Like Rogue One and stories like that. You feel me? But at some point, it's going to have to end.
And now after like 27 Disney Plus shows a year, we're somehow at a point where we had a new Star Wars movie drop last month after a 9-year break, and it was getting box office mogged by a 4chan meme. So of course, with Toy Story, you can always just not go see it. But you will. And you can beg Disney not to make another one. But they will. And everyone's going to complain about it, and the reception is going to sound the exact same as the feedback I get after every Hinge date. And then it will be the highest grossing one in the series. So, yeah. We sure showed them. It's not a secret that like 90% of Pixar is funded by Cars and Toy Story merch. So like they were never going to let this go when Toy Story 4 made more than all of their last 4 original movies combined. Yeah. And again, not that I blame them, okay? Like, did you see Elio?
Yeah. Well, I don't blame them either because their new ideas just suck. People will just be like, make new ideas, but they also suck.
I already told you I was busy that weekend, okay? You were meant to cover for me.
Oh my god, there is no way we're actually getting Adventure Time, and it's titled Adventure Time Side Quest, which is a prequel that follows Finn's early childhood.
So, as I was saying, Family Guy. So yeah, you know, even though I've not watched a single episode of the show consensually, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're really gonna miss...
Yep. Dude, until 2034. It is not ending. Nowhere soon. You're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. You better enjoy it. Alright. And the camera's shaking again. And my hat's all over the place. And the camera's all over the place. Alright. Okay. Anyways, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Without further ado, got nothing to say. See y'all later. Peace.